All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today we're diving into one of the biggest topics in digital money, stablecoins. You see, they were created to fix a massive problem with crypto, to turn it from a wild roller coaster investment into something you could, actually use. So how do they work? And are they really the future? Let's get into it.
I mean, that's the central question, isn't it? What if you could have all the cool things about the blockchain, the speed, the low fees, the fact that it works anywhere, but without those heart-stopping price swings? That's the promise of stablecoins. That's the goal. So to really wrap our heads around stablecoins, we've got to start with the problem they were designed to solve. And that problem is one word: volatility. It's the one thing, really, that's kept crypto from being used as, well, everyday money. And this says it all, right? The price of something like Bitcoin or Ethereum can jump up or down like crazy, sometimes in just a few minutes. Imagine trying to buy a $5 coffee, but by the time you pay, it actually costs you $6. Or maybe it was $4. You just can't run an economy like that. It makes it totally impractical for just buying stuff. And that's where the stablecoin comes in. The idea is actually pretty simple, but it's really powerful. You create a digital coin that is tied or pegged to a real-world asset that doesn't change much, usually a major currency, like the US dollar. The whole point is to keep a one-to-one value. One stablecoin is supposed to always equal $1. That's it. But how do they actually do that? How do they keep it stable? Well, as you can see here, they come in a few different flavors. You've got fiat-backed coins, which are supposedly backed by real dollars in a bank account somewhere. Then there are crypto-backed ones, which use other crypto as collateral. And finally, you have algorithmic ones, which are basically run by complex software. Each one has its own big risk, from, having to trust the company to having to trust the code. But look, for all their potential, stablecoins are not a magic fix. We've got to stack up their huge advantages against some very real and sometimes pretty well-hidden risks. Okay, one of the biggest wins for stablecoins is just how useful they are. Just look at this comparison for sending money overseas. The old way: it can take days, you pay crazy fees, and it only works during banking hours. With stablecoins, it gets there in minutes, it's cheap, and it works 24/7. This isn't just a small improvement, it's a total game changer for a lot of people. And to put a real number on that, the World Bank says the average cost to send money across a border the traditional way is over 6%. That's just lost money. It never even gets to the person it was sent to. Now, compare that to stablecoins. The cost just plummets. We're talking somewhere in the range of 0.5% to 3%. If you're sending a lot of money or sending it often, that difference is absolutely massive. But, and this is a big but, it's not all smooth sailing. There are serious risks. The biggest one for those fiat-backed coins is, does the company that made the coin actually have all the dollars they say they have? Then you've got governments who could just change the rules on a dime. There are technical risks, like bugs in the code. And of course, the ultimate nightmare: the coin could depeg and lose its one-to-one value with the dollar. And it's exactly because of these risks that governments all over the world are now in a mad dash to write the rules for stablecoins. This isn't some niche tech thing anymore. This is becoming a major global financial issue. And what's really fascinating is that everybody is taking a slightly different path. The US is trying to get everyone on the same page through the G20. The EU went ahead and passed their giant MiCA regulation. Singapore is focused on how big institutions can use them. And then you have Japan, which has really jumped out ahead of the pack with some of the first real laws on the books. I mean, the pace of this is just incredible. The general feeling is that in a very, very short time, pretty much every major economy is going to have some kind of legal framework for stablecoins. Regulation isn't a question of if anymore, it's when and how. And that brings us to our main case study today. Japan's approach has been so forward-thinking that a lot of people are watching it, thinking it could be the blueprint for how you safely bring stablecoins into a major economy. So the key dates are pretty clear. Back in June 2023, Japan's new law kicked in, which for the first time gave stablecoins an official legal definition. The next big milestone is expected in August of 2025. That's when the financial regulator is set to give the final stamp of approval to the country's very first regulated stablecoin, called JPYC, which is pegged to the Japanese yen. So here it is, JPYC. Its whole job is to do one thing and do it perfectly: stay pegged one-to-one with the Japanese yen, all while being watched over by the country's financial regulators. It's the first of its kind. And its impact so far? Whoa. I mean, look at this. It's been immediate and it's been overwhelming. This chart shows just how completely dominant it is. JPYC makes up 99% of the entire domestic stablecoin market in Japan. It's not just a player in the market, it is the market. So how does it actually work under the hood? Well, it's a really clear, secure process. You deposit your Japanese yen, an identical amount of JPYC gets created or minted and sent to your digital wallet. Now, the crucial part is that your original deposit is held in super safe assets, cash and government bonds. From there, you can use your JPYC online or even swap it for gift cards you can use in regular stores. Okay, so once you have this kind of secure, regulated model in place, it opens up a whole universe of new ideas. We're now moving past just simple payments and into the really exciting stuff this tech could do in the future. And it all comes down to this one core concept, programmability. You could almost think of it as the superpower of stablecoins. It means you can build rules directly into the money itself. So, for example, you could have a payment that only releases to a seller the exact moment a shipping company confirms that a package has been delivered. It automates trust in a way we've never been able to do before. And once you have money that can follow rules, you unlock all kinds of amazing applications that people are exploring right now. We're talking about making international business payments way more efficient, creating supply chains that are basically fully automated, or even making tiny digital currencies just to support a local neighborhood's economy. The list goes on. And this idea gets even bigger. It actually ties right back into a country's national economy. The CEO of JPYC points out that if a yen-backed stablecoin gets really popular, then all those reserves being held to back it up will create this huge, stable new demand for Japanese government bonds. All of a sudden, this futuristic tech is having a direct impact on national financial policy. It's pretty wild. So, we have to end on this question. Are we just watching the very first steps of a new kind of money? Not just digital money, but programmable money. The kind of money that could fundamentally change how business contracts work, how our supply chains operate, and really, how we all pay for everything, every single day. Japan's experiment seems to suggest the answer could very well be yes.